you can kind of understand why Sprout would be the favorites in that regard.
If you want to take advantage of those odds, then you can click the banner underneath the Twitch channel. Get yourself involved with Malta Vibes via our partners at LootBet. 10 free CSGO spins up to €100 bonus for your deposit. The pistol round gets live here. Mighty Max and Robin with the utility bases for the CT side. Dennis and Spitty also have utility as well for the T side. And Endpoint, they have not opted to buy a kit here. It's just basic duels and hoping to suppress these T side forces.
Pretty aggressive too, at least in the standpoint from the CTs around the B stairs. Really starting to at least take that control away. And see even Flames just pre-aiming in case the run boost comes around on the pistol round. But for Sprout, this is so incredibly slow. They've really slowed down the place. Almost no map controls come through. They're going to start to regroup out from ramp, but getting close to a minute on the clock, they need to start showing some presence.
Out to the ramp position, several players being seen. The swing from Dennis gets the kill on Robin very early on. Utility taken out of play as well. So much lost for the CT side, and they can enter in towards the A side. They're so passive on the defense, so this will be a bomb plant. A second kill found blind against Mighty Max, predicting the angle well and securing a 5-on-2 as Farben gets yet another kill through smoke against Flames.
Oh, that's so disappointing. The fact that Endpoint have lost 2 duels just straight through smoke spams and try to set themselves up for the retake, but a 2-on-5. This is pretty much already finished, and the round's done. And Cyril and Crucial might even start trying to back off here. More incendiary comes through, more nades to come up for the Sprout side, and now the aggression looks to come through from DR. What a pistol round coming out from Sprout, and what a way to kickstart their series.
Crucial left into the B site to hold on to the Kevlar, because this has been an overwhelming force here from Sprout on T side. And you wouldn't expect the T side to go particularly well for the team that starts on it. It kind of confuses me as why Endpoint would pick that CT side, but at the same time, there's also their map pick, so I'm wondering if they have a decent game plan in play. For now though, Sprout, domination to start things off. Straight kills through smokes as well, simple headshots coming out. Like, if you want a clean pistol, I mean, you don't get much more clean than that.
No, you really don't. And you know what? Funny fact, actually, the last time we've seen Endpoint on Vertigo, Jay, was when they got 16-0'd by Mad Lions on their map pick and then ended up winning out the series in DreamHack Open in summer, I believe it was, this year, which was, you know, a month ago or so. So looking to see if they can get a little bit of a decent result from the last time they played it. And Deagle's up, forced by in. Sprout. I wonder if they're going to continue this really slow, methodical approach, because I think in sort of the current era of Vertigo, especially in the tier 2 teams, it's all about getting some quick map control on the T side, trying to see if you can get that ramp control to start the round off, out towards the B stairs. Don't really see too many teams really slowing it down like Sprout are so far.
Lashes over for Sprout to take control of the ramp position. Robin's already going to get tagged out to 52 HP thanks to the scalp shot of Snatchy. No opening kill for either side, though. It's just contact play, shots connecting. Oh, Speedy reading Flames' position as well. Sprout got a good beat on what Endpoint are doing here. Dia will open things up with the Galil kill on Mighty Max. Might even launch a spray through against Flames, taking some very risky crosses. Robin eventually does full Flames, finds one Deagle shot. 2 for 1 all in all. Needs to get Dia next, predicts that angle right, but is unable to get the kill here.
He keeps pressing forwards, finally picked up that Galil, but his Deagle's probably the best shout, and now the overextension comes through. Sprout are ready for it, really running down the clock, 4-on-2 advantage. Endpoint just have to try and stack up the defensive here at the A bomb site and just hope that there's some way that they can maybe deny a bomb plant, Jay, and waste as much time as possible.
Smoke set, AK looking onwards at the edge of it. Down towards cross, Surreal again falls, Speedy blind. And these kills through smokes are getting a bit over the top. Crucial to deny the bomb plant though, 10 seconds, that's going to stay alive. A little bit too close to the action, so this will be the 2-0 for Sprout to start things off on the T-side line.
We've seen quite a few kills through smokes to start off Vertigo. And it's always nice being sort of on the, not the receiving end, but the delivering end of that to sort of build up a bit of confidence, sort of saying, right, we can just keep spamming. I mean, certainly if you think of any map, Jay, and you think of any area, like Vertigo at the A bombs, like the spams in towards the new like metal sheet, it could sometimes just be like 4 players just spamming through to see if they can do as much damage as possible. A Sprout dealing with the force buy up 2-0. A gamble stack out to the A bomb site, mid control coming out from Sprout.
Trying to look for the opening way in. No kills be offered up by the CT side. They're also pressed and stacked up to the A site play. A very aggressive facing forward, but no contact by Sprout here. They're mostly leaning onto its mid position. They're going to wrap in from the back lines of the A site. Realize that the CTs have really stacked this one up. As soon as they see that first player out here on the site, then they'll know what's going on.
They can just commit the bomb into B now, realizing the stack's there, and Faffin just going to fall back. Got that Mac 10. Dennis to try and back him up. Maybe taking some fights aren't really that necessary. They can just open up B, go straight in, and almost just leave the USPs for them to try and retake.
Scout shot connects to one more. Utility on towards the bomb site, knowing exactly where it's clear, and they will just be able to secure the plant. 3-0 star. Surreal does catch off Farven, so that's one good frag back. But again, not much being lost here for the T-side count. That was the SMG that went down. AK for Robin's going to be the main thing. If he stays in play, they'll release some investment going into the rifle round.
Oh, great damage being found. They're actually going to try and see if they can go for this, Jay, do even more damage, and bring the AK forward through. They're going to try and go in for the retake.
All right, the game is on. AK up here. Speedy goes down. Flames and Surreal are going to get traded back, though. Robin trades this for 1 versus 2. And Dia on site, seeing Crucial tap up with a headshot, not quite coming through the AK. Eventually takes that man down. And Robin left to try and hold on to the site here. Get the defuse in. Oh. No, Dia's tapping on for victory. And he taps to the 3rd round for Sprout. I think it's 3rd kill in the round as well.
I'll tell you what, though, I can say that Sprout probably won't be entirely satisfied with that round, Jay. They lost 4 players to a gamble stack of that A bomb site when they just could have gone quickly into B. I think they took some unnecessary fights there and lost a lot. So there is certainly a potential that if ENDPOINT can start to put some hurt on the economy for like a pretty quick reset to come out. AWP on the back of both players on respected teams. Crucial on the City side and Snatchy on the T side. This time a little bit quicker out towards Ramp from the T's, and Mighty Match should be an easy kill, but the trade comes out from Faffin.
1 for 1. And Sprout just can't, or sorry, ENDPOINT I should say, can't just seem to get the early round advantage. Getting the early control. Farven will start to extend a bit farther forward though, and Gap and a Smokes will get exploited. It will clear up now as the CT's back up away from Alley, but they'll still hear the utility coming through, so I know they're going to take the Alley presence on the Sprout side. It's info gain, but no real advanced angle to take a pick back.
All coming in from Ramp. They're not being silent about this at all, putting up a hell of a lot of utility, and it really comes down to maybe Dia on the entry, if he can wide swing out and see if to find a response back. They're even going to bring a 3rd player back over to A on this B bomb site. A good defensive hold so far from ENDPOINT.
AK ready to face up. 55 seconds to the clock. Smokes in, Gap there for Dia to find Crucial. No, the AWP swings on the man. Robin gets Dennis meanwhile. Speedy's left alone. The CT side will be able to hold on to their 1st round here. Been a bit of an awkward start against Sprout, but as the rifles come out, ENDPOINT find this line.
There it is. And spoken about the reset potential. Look at the money line coming out from the T's, Jay. As Sprout are in a really awkward position on a few players. They're going to have to force buy. And ENDPOINT are going to realize, hang on a minute, if we were able to win that gun round and do so much damage in the previous eco, their money line's going to be wrecked. They're going to have to force going into round 5. This is really the opportunity for ENDPOINT to get back in control, be able to tie up the scoreline, and maybe even see if they could try and take a lead. A single AK onto Speedy and Deagles for the rest of them.
Up for Crucial, looking down mid. And catch off the early advantage against likes of Dennis. Instead of going to just take the contact on Flames instead, but passive from the T side at the moment. Sprout careful around their contact. M4 eventually, Mighty Max finds his frag on Speedy. Snatchy trains it. And the AK gets picked up by Farven instead. Might challenge on Robin next up here, the one player who's still waiting around this ramp position, calling in for backup as well. Flames gets to angle, but they can't quite find these guys. Robin takes one, look with D, and next sees him all the same. Damage has been done to the rifle, but he stays alive.
So smart play there from Robin, realizing the fact that he just needs to get out of there as quickly as possible. Ooh, Dennis may be able to actually find an opening in B. If Crucial starts to swing out, the B player can get isolated, especially at the timing. Dennis can silently make his way into B.
Sees one, takes that fight against Crucial, grabs that AWP, but turning onto the rotators instead. Jump around for Flames, he just evades the shot and gets the kill back to a 3-on-2. Footsteps being heard as well towards the B site. Good flashes to counteract them. It catches both players blind in the face. Surreal on platform, backing up to the back line, sprays on Snatchy, takes him down. DNX to fall. Nice and easy for the CT side.
And I'll tell you what, that's a really, just a smart call there coming out from Flames, realizing the fact, okay, Dennis has taken down Crucial, so he's probably got the AWP, so let's try and see if we can bait out a shot. Actually jumps over the AWP to trade out from Dennis, and from there, setting themselves up, not rushing into B, but working together as a unit. And Sprout weren't really able to deal with the ramp presence, and started to get an opening once Dennis opens up B, but it's not quite enough. A very light investment to come through. Pretty much just Glocks and a couple of P250s here and there. Endpoint. And this is really the chance to start to build up their money line on the CT side. They shouldn't lose more than one player here, Jay.
M4 and Surreal in the back line, held looking towards Wood and Stairs. Glocks to get boosted up. Did he see heads? I don't think he did. He'll see Snatchy now, try and turn around, laid up against his position. Got Spinny to deal with, it does get overwhelmed by the Glock shots, so eventually they find that much. Crucial turns around, drops that bomb planter, but also goes full into Dennis. So 3-on-3, trades are good. The bomb plant is going to be allowed here. Farthern against Robin, catches him in the back line as well. The backstab gets dealt with, and suddenly Sprout are on to do some damage here.
Oh, they really are, Jay. Look at the aggression coming out from Dennis towards the generator position. Oh, and now Snatchy's got a kill. What is going on? 2 P250s and 3 Glocks have just ripped apart a complete buy. What? Oh, that's so tilting. If it was Deagles and it was a little bit of armor and some Kevlar and some utility, I'd say, okay, you know, that happens. They had 2 P250s and Glocks, Jay.
That's not fun.
It really isn't.
Saying the least. Sprout could have gotten away with damage there in that 3-on-3, and that would have been a fantastic round for them, getting so much more than that. Endpoint giving up the ghost big time. And now they're down to their own pistol eco. Already an AWP kill for Statue coming in, taking out Robin to start. Looking for his second pick also towards the alleyway position. You've got Flames next in with the Deagle. Sprays through, burst up. Farven takes that frag. Lays onto his position, might do some damage to return, but it's a 5 versus 3.
And Sprout capitalizing on a huge mistake from their opposition in that last round with a great round against an eco themselves. Only a couple of upgraded pistols here and there. Have not really been able to find anything on this CT side. Complete ramp control, 3 kills already for the T's. Dennis opening it up. And now it's all down to Surreal in the backlines to maybe see if he can recover a weapon, bring it into the next round, see if he can get a kill or 2. But for Sprout, starting off Vertigo with a 5-2 lead, Jay.
Effective 5-2 lead at that. Endpoint may have started things off good with their earlier rifle and follow-up victory, but losing to the eco is just going to be even much better for the Sprout side. Economy will be decimated. The Eagle's up, it's real. Hoping to get an exit frag, but nothing will go his way. Therefore, the frag can be easy as that. Sprout mostly going to lean against the rifles here, the Endpoint side, who have the rebuy coming in around 8. Speaking of rebuys, you can rebuy some stick skins for your inventory only at hellcase.com, our case partners. Use codes MaltaV and MaltaV15. Get some free money and a free 15% refill bonus as well. Tech pause coming in at this moment, Blake. I'm not sure who for, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but obviously, to wait a little bit of time to get this whole issue sorted, we can get straight back into the game.
And for Sprout, they've got to be thinking about really starting to claw rounds on the T side now. We saw them taking on North yesterday in the group stage where they lost 0-2, but they ended up putting 7 rounds on T and only 4 on CT to get 11 rounds altogether. So for Sprout, looking at a team like Endpoint, sort of saying, right, maybe if we can get to 9 or 10 rounds on T, then that really opens up an opportunity of going into the second half, feeling confident and looking to potentially take a map victory here. I mean, it's still very early days in this matchup, but Sprout have already been looking pretty impressive. And Look, for Endpoint, I mean, I certainly think with the experience that Mighty Max has, that it probably won't tilt the team like most of the UK teams would in a round like that. But he's really got to be making sure that he's sort of calmed down all of his players, because that's a round that really should never happen, but it's one that did, and that they need to just get past it. They can't think about it anymore.
Small tech problem mention. I believe Flames dropped out the server a moment ago. Getting him rebooted and back into the game itself so we can get on with the matchup. Of course, the buy has been defined here for Endpoint. It was going to be a rifle buy, so you can see exactly what they've got here. A little bit of limited utility for Mighty Max and Crucial, but with the AWP being on Crucial, that's not too much of a worry. Head Kevlar for Mighty Max, though. I mean, you could have bought a HE with that money. Almost like a flattery, so desired, but Fuse Kit is in for him. And I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, because they've got 2 M4 still to work with for Sprout.
Decent. Now, this has got to be the way back in. Now, one thing to kind of keep an eye on is where Mighty Max is being the anchor of. He's playing over towards that A-bomb site. He's the one with the kit. A lot of utility of anti-rush out towards ramp, and Endpoint have been able to at least establish some controls. Spinny, though, all by himself, running up through ramp. He had no support from a teammate.
Crucial can find that opening kill pretty easy for it. Man down, Sprout didn't even get the ramp control for it or any information back for their execution. They're leaning in towards the B-side play. M4 Surreal facing up. Flames there on that boost spot position. Takes a spray on one man. Could not quite find Dennis. Dennis allowed to get Surreal as a result, but Flames doubles up in the end to take away the mid control. The players making their way from stairs have already found access to the site. Can't secure the bomb plant, but Endpoint have their advantages on this retake.
It's down to the Polish powerhouse, the 2-on-4 for the Poles, to see if they could bring this back. Snatchy starting to aggress with the AWP. Flames has done a great job in the round so far and getting a couple of kills. The Tracers through the smoke, and Point setting themselves up for the utility. And both players are quite aggressive in the Sprout side.
Only one on back. Stop! That's massive. See, Crucial to turn it to 3. And one man turns the whole round around for Sprout. AWP is Snatchy to shut it all down. But D is the hero as Sprout gets 6.
Oh my goodness, what a play coming out from Snatchy and Dihar. The lineup comes through from Robin and Flames, follows up with the AWP, and then Snatchy gets the last kill on the Mighty Max. Endpoint, bottle, a 4-on-2 retake. Oh my goodness. How has that happened? That should never have happened. That round was done.
Alas, here we are. Deco coming through from Endpoint, going to try and aggress down the mid position, but no contact established by the T side. Right back over towards the B side. Dennis has seen one already. The Eagle in, does take the frag. Okay. AWP with Snatchy also doesn't land his shot. Benchy does take Surreal down to a 4-on-4. Incendiaries and smokes up again. Gap locked out. Speed's going to get Mighty Max. Missed that smoke. Crucial evades the shots from Statue, continuing to miss bullet after bullet with the AWP, but continuing to face forward, take out Crucial. Deagle Robin does catch him off. Bomb plant denied for the moment. Spitty spooked a little bit. Meanwhile, on the back, Flames going to get dealt with. Robin facing forward, goes to down to Dia, and a bomb plant can be secured here. 1-on-3 for Flames. He's out of the round.
Yeah, you've got to think pressure's now starting to build for this Endpoint side. 7-2 lead from Sprout, looking pretty dominant on the T side so far. What's the change up from Endpoint? Do they want to get aggressive out through mid? We haven't really seen a lot of aggression from them. The only time we've seen aggression is maybe out towards the ramp control. Outside of that, not really much towards B stairs, not a lot out from mid. It's been relatively passive for the Endpoint side for the most part. And getting that AWP back on a Crucial. And M4's up for the rest of them. Sprout in a really good position, Jay, to keep building this T-side economy line. Look at how much money Snatchy and Farfan have, even for the rest of the teammates, all sitting sort of like on average about that 5k mark.
A lot of money to work with for Sprout.
Ooh.
And Crucial lands the opening kill on Dia. Opening things up down towards the mid position and on towards the B side defensive. He's going to start facing forward as well. We might catch another good frag. No, Dennis trades him, so An AK set and ready. Resmokes down from the CT is going to drive them away from the ramp position. Robin braces forward and takes a lot of damage by the Molotovs that came in against his line. Incendiary to respond from the CT camp, and now they realize that a fast rotation is coming in to the B bomb site. Spitty catching Surreal, blinded by the flashbang, dead and buried. Mighty Max caught off guard on the wraparound rotations as the T's have established all his map control and established a 4-on-2, making it one as Flames falls next.
They've got no idea what's going on there. So Endpoint, what happens is they start taking ramp control. They get double mollies, they smoke deep, and they flash in, and Sprout go, right, we're instantly getting out of there. They don't even contest. They run straight in through the B stairs. They offer up a lot of pressure. What I really love from Speedy 2J, he's the bomb carrier that's coming up to entry at B. He drops that bomb and wide swings because he knows if I go down, I'm dropping that bomb. At least if I drop it and then swing out, a teammate can pick it up a little bit later in the round, or I can pick it back up. Dennis comes out from mid, and one thing we really saw a lot from Dennis Jay in the group stage was how much lurking he was able to do. Does a really good job of being able to silently get out from B, cuts off so many rotations, ends up getting 3 kills, and Endpoint are really struggling on the city side of Vertigo, being one of the best teams in Tier 2 Counter-Strike on this map.
Okay. Now, usually, I would say at this point, it's a T side. But Endpoint, as you mentioned, one of the best, teams on this map. And I mean, you expect to have them at least have a decent CT side at this, Like, you at least expect them to have some sort of level of presence on this first half. Because they picked it, I mean, and I get, obviously, the strategy there is to sort of, take your worst half so you can really sort of spring momentum into the second. Considering as of late, they've started to lose control of this map in their pool, maybe the issues might run a little bit deeper than just a CT half.
Yeah, might do. And you think about like the teams in Tier 2 that are strong on Vertigo. You've obviously got your Polish teams, your AGO, your Illuminars, your Pact example. These guys really like to play Vertigo. You've got your alternate attacks too, and Endpoint, one of the strongest teams on Vertigo. The fact that they're struggling this hard already is a very worrying sign, considering Sprout don't play this map at all. It's like an insta-ban for these guys, so already to get 8-2 up, they've put a lot of hurt onto the Endpoint side, slowly starting to contest out from ramp. Now the boost coming out from Robin hasn't quite seen anything just yet. Oh, he's seen ahead. This should be a killer to Spetty.
Can't catch off a second opportunity though. The Hen's gonna get away alive. Little did he know he was in danger in the first place. Jump up now, looking for the boost player. Robin catches him with a good frag. Incendiary and Smoke down from the CT utility basis to hold off against the incoming hit. And Smoke body blocked as well. I'm not sure that was intentional or not, but it does allow access for a bomb plant to come through from main. It's going to make its way out from alley though. Dia, 15 seconds to the clock, and Robin is still holding the corner. Mighty Max gets snatchy next. Dia lines up 2 more though, and now enters Flames, all that remains. Meanwhile, Dennis makes way over towards the mid, takes out Crucial, cuts off the rotations. Surreal will get that trade, but he's the last man standing.
Oh, Endpoint, 1-on-2. Surreal's picked up the AK, and it's down to Fafin and Dia to hold on into the post plant. A tough angle towards the left there to pre-aim for Surreal. Can't make it happen. My goodness, I didn't think there was going to be a way in there for Sprout. The time was so low. The alley presence was great. The boost came up. They found an opening kill. They put the smoke down. They put a molly down. We saw a re-smoke coming in from Mighty Max. And the time was just so low. Dennis cuts off the rotators from the B bomb side. D is able to open up with 2 great kills from Ali. That should have been a round for Endpoint. That clock was so low, Jay.
It was. It really was. Ops in, AK's out, M4s for the CT board, and well, Dia will catch Surreal opening things up. Now things are really starting to look dire. Sprout hunting for 10, and they may well get it with the way things are going out here. Orb shot of Crucial misses. Nade to the backline should catch him for 51. Flashes the Molotovs over. Dia still swings without any utility support. Takes the frag on for a triple. He gets it. Of course he gets it. And this is 10 for Sprout. There's no way Endpoint recover this.
And you know what this is reminding me of? Do you remember when Dia was playing back with RC on Vertigo? Like how he just used to enter everywhere. Where he was out towards B stairs, whether it was ramp, he was like just such a strong entry player on this map back in sort of like January, maybe even December last year. And like, just, it's incredible. It is just such a performance from him. And what a performance from the team too. Like, even the fact that Surreal is, Crucial I should say, is missing shots like that. Like, that's uncharacteristic. He's normally a very, very sharp shooter. He missed 2 opportunities at that B bomb site to find a kill.
Halfway coming in from Endpoint in the next one. This is starting to get real concerning. 8 rounds the difference. And I would be shocked if we saw another overwhelming 2-0 in the quarterfinals today. Like, Forza versus Fate is understandable, but against Endpoint here, Sprout, especially on Vertigo, like, they shouldn't be having this much trouble.
No, you're absolutely right. The Sprout are just looking so comfortable. We're seeing Dia just having a mass amount of impact on the entries. Dennis is cutting off so many rotators. They're just reading the game incredibly well, and that obviously comes down to the in-game leader of Spitty. Endpoint. Where do they respond? How do they get back involved? Out from mid from the T side. Maybe try and see if they can split their way into B. Showing a lot of presence, a lot of information's already been found, but it's only Deagles to work with on the City side.
Works up AK. Looking down the mid control, Dennis and Spitty. So Real's gonna catch that frag on Dia, drop that bomb, that's information gained, and a man advantage found for the CT side. Running away on Farvan's got to pick up that bomb and rely on his teammates in the mid control to do most of the damage. Orb close against Surreal, lands that shot, no problems. Nays back behind Crucial here, still set with the Deagle, and Stacky peeks in, lands his head, domes the man, and Spitty comes up with 2 kills at the stack, and Mighty Max is left alone.
1 on 4. Ooh, good shot coming out from Mighty Max. Maybe see if he can recover a weapon and bring it into the next round. But it looks to be an 11th on the board to come out from Sprout. And you've got to think too, Jay, like, I know that we're giving a fair bit of credit to Sprout, but like for Endpoint, there were so many situations where they've had 3 on 3. Do you remember even that 4 on 2 retake that they weren't able to close out at B? You know, it's like for Sprout, yeah, they're up 11-2, but at the same time, Endpoint aren't converting their advantages, and you've got to give it for Sprout of making it really awkward for these guys. You've got to think pressure's at another level now. 9 rounds the difference. The streak of 8 in a row, I want to say, from Sprout now. It's getting out of hand, and it's been getting out of hand for a while now.
Imagine this being a 13-2 half for Sprout. Again, T-side caveats, but Endpoint have really looked dire, really looked like they're missing a lot of shots, and they're just kind of being overwhelmed by every single opportunity that Sprout get. They're punishing them for aggressing. Look at Robin down here towards the construction area. Legged by the Orb, 17 HP. He's a dead man's walk in. Mighty Max taking up one part though. AK set for a 2K. Back turns around for the 3, but no. Dia gets it to a 3 on 3. Flames swing out to respond. He sees Farvan getting caught back by Dia again, who gets his 3K in of his own. Molotov's in the back. This guy has been doing amazing for Sprout. Needs to get that line in for Dennis to plant the bomber on A. Crucial and Surreal suppressed 2 on 2.
Get that bomb plant, force in the post plant, force the CTs to overextend. Crucial and Surreal fake down. Dia finds yet another kill, and it's all down to Surreal. Gonna get molly down. He needs to try and swing, at least get some sort of impact in the round. The bomb on the back of Dennis into a 1-on-1. Dia again. An ace with 21 kills and 6 deaths, Jay. Dia is like, he's just destroying everything. Absolutely everything on this T side.
Dia's on fire right now. Like, there's just no stopping him. Every single entry he finds is so good. And 21 frags, as you mentioned, in just 14 rounds.
Yeah, it's kind of comical to think about that, isn't it? And just how much impact he's finding on a regular basis too.
Many multi-frag rounds over in this one. Look at Robin, dealt with by Farvan. Quick frag on the AK. I think all players in that context were blind. Farven moves up, edge of the smoke stuff, crosshairs looking away. Mighty Max could catch Dennis or Snatchy. Farven catches him first though. As a 5v3 scenario, Sprout continuing to overwhelm, and while Dia may have had the highlights in that last round, Farven's the one with 2 kills in this one.
Ooh, good return comes out from Surreal. That's an AK that could be picked up. But D has already opened up B. They could just bring the bomb over. This is as simple as that. They realize B bomb sites open up. You've still got Dia out towards mid, and he's even pushed further forward.
That it's unreal how Sprout have been able to worm their way around every position. Oh my god, that was insane.
Wide swinging an AWP.
Dia basically won the round as soon as he swung in towards the B bomb site. You know, he had full control of this, but Crucial with the shock of his life. Insane shots coming out. 13-2 for Sprout. Endpoint have bottled it. They have absolutely bottled this one.
I don't want to see the odds, Jay. Like,
not even do I.
Oh, what? I get involved right now. It's got to be more one-sided than that, but I suppose, yeah, like, Deary's victory 1.1, yeah, it's still fair enough. Well, Sprout, they're looking to try and end this game as quickly as possible. You know what? I'm just hoping for Dia to get to 30. He's getting close now.
Well, now he's got to turn around here. Snatchy and Farven. And Dennis set, Spinny rotating back. He's the only player on the A side, actually. Endpoint have read this pretty well. Smokes up. That one missed entirely. Wyatt faced Surreal to a 4-on-4. And the bomb plant can be secured by Endpoint, at least setting up the retake on the A side.
A little bit of counter utility too. A couple of flashbangs and a HE could seriously work out for them. They don't know about the ramp play coming out from Snatchy. Good check from Robin, and that's the man advantage found, but Dia's on the return.
You ain't stopping him. You ain't stopping him. You ain't stopping him. He can't quite close out the last. Crucial barely holding on, but Dia still gets 4 because of course he does. 14 for Sprout when Endpoint had everything to play for.
And of course it's Dia, the one that clutches out that round into the one-on-one. 27 kills! He's 3 away from 30 bombing, Jay! Oh my goodness! I don't think any of his teammates are even close to 20 kills.
Imagine 30 bombing in 17 or 18 rounds, right? That's the reality for Dia right now.
It is.
I don't think I've seen a performance like this since... What, MDL maybe? Like back in summer last year?
I don't think I've ever seen a performance like this.
When Vinny went 42 kills in one regulation map.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're talking about here when we talk about performances like this. They are so rare, so far. It's just, I don't know what to say anymore. D is set and ready here towards the B bomb site. Surreal has snuck his way into the site, not checking back a quad. He is now, and Dia is dealt with. 4 versus 3 for for Endpoint. Up towards this B bomb site. The bomb plant will be coming through.
Oh, it's a really good shout of actually being able to convert out this post plant. They're in a really great position. They've even got a lurk still to come out from Mighty Max. Denying that bomb plant is just going to give them a little bit more time, though. The Sprout setting themselves up, and they're very close to the site now.
Coming in for the retake, as you would expect. Khalil's bursting through for Surreal. Going to catch someone into the smoke, but Sprout are going to think better and smarter of this. They're going to save their weapons. Get the FAMAS in, get the SMG out. Scout for Snatchy is a bonus weapon. This will mean Endpoint get to 3. But it does mean more of a chance for Dia to get to 30. So, you know, positives, glass half full for Sprout. God, I hope Endpoint have a glass half full sort of mentality coming into this one, because they have been absolutely trounced by Sprout.
Yeah, no, they really have. And you've got to think that, at least for Endpoint, you still got to be trying to take it as seriously as possible. Like, yeah, maybe you can have a bit of a laugh about it and say, like, yeah, we've just been wrecked. But the matter of, like, the outcome is that there's not really much you could do. When you've got Dia performing at just this kind of a level, and he's just absolutely destroying you round after round, at least for the majority of the first half, even the pistol, there's not really much that you can do except just go, right, let's just see what we can do, see if we can bring this back to at least a respectable scoreline. A Sprout forcing in what they saved into. Fast play out towards the B stairs really quick. These HGs only doing a little bit of damage.
Dia taking a lot more back to 25 HP, so not the best of rounds here. But Sprout eventually gets caught up by Crucial. Snatchy with that scout shot sends him tumbling to an early grave, though. 4-on-4. Endpoint wrapped back around, potentially looking for a rotation towards the ace side. They have not pushed ramp. They're still just held towards alley and entrance. And Dennis, oh, he's found the AK. Backing up as well, not extending so far as to drop down towards the sandbags boost.
They might even gamble stack A. They're completely rotating off of B. It all just comes down to how much time can they delay for the rotations to come through. Dennis and Snatchy, they're going to start to back up Fafin and Speedy over at A. Endpoint need to get a bit of a move on here, Jay. Otherwise, they're going to be running into 4 CTs.
Molotovs in, Endpoint. Still suppressed, and they're gambling this one. Dennis with the AK coming up real quick here. Top of the orange box is spinning on cross position, sees 2. The flashbang blinds him successfully. He goes down, so does Farven. Surreal doubling up. Dennis with a blind spray takes out Robin though. 2 versus 3. And Scout shot still trying to connect from Snatchy, not landing towards Surreal. There would have been wall bangs on towards the orange boxes on the default plant, but no real kills coming through for him. Dennis tagged to 9. He's got to fall back. Snatchy's going to go ahead and join him. Get an AK out of this round though. It's not a bad pickup for Sprout. Endpoint just slowly grinding their way back here on T side.
A nice way of being able to open up too. We see the cross smokes coming through, dealing with the site defenders before the rotators. Endpoint, 4 rounds now up on the board. Now that was a force buy coming out from Sprout, so it will be a pretty harsh eco saved in with the AK and the Scout. It won't be too much for them to work with going into round 19, but they will be able to get the buy going into round 20. And you've just got to think, Jay, like if you're looking at this Endpoint side, who to you is like a player that needs to step up in this situation? I would personally say Flames. Like I think the sort of mechanical firepower that he brings, especially in a situation like this, you've got to say that there's at least 1 or 2 players from Endpoint that really need to start firing up.
Well, I mean, you highlight Flames for a good reason there, because the boots he's filling is Thomas's, you know, and I hate to keep making the comparison, but he's such a good player, especially in the context of Endpoint, usually one of their top performers when they come and have these map-ups and these best of 3s. So for Flames not to show up here, it means that not only do they lose Thomas, they also lose their stand-in as well. It's like basically playing a 5-on-4. Out for Snatchy, looking on. Oh, he gets the headshot on Mighty Max. What a shot to start things off. And that prompts the push in from Endpoint straight out the gate. Boost up for the Scout, though. Actually, the AK moves up instead. Sprays through. Robin takes 1. Farm with the Eagle set at the edge of the smoke. Robin takes Dia back to a 3-on-3 scenario. Snatchy gets Crucial in the midst of the smoke. So Sprout maintain the man advantage. And Endpoint, they don't know how to work into this one here.
Yeah, they've been spammed so many times now, and there's even a backstabbing member coming in from Speedy. Maybe he's trying to go down the ladder to try and backstab them in. Snatchy and Fafin on the site itself. The AK is still in play, and it's with Snatchy with armor. No one making noise. Flames answers back, and that's a big kill to be found.
Speedy's got to rotate. Deagle here, Farven. Here's the footstep. Flames! 2K to his name. Beautiful shooting from the Scout, and Robin's all that remains. Speedy making his way up, may bait in with the USP. Double face, and Farven gets 3 kills. A beautiful headshot to close it. And Sprout are on map points here at 15-4.
I can't believe what we're seeing, Jay. I saw this series and I thought, yeah, look, Vertigo may be a bit of a stomping affair to come out from Endpoint. The fact that it's the complete reverse, it's a wild, wild thought. We see some great Scout shots. Even Farfen, like we don't really see him too often on the Scout or the AWP, hitting some great shots in the end there. Endpoint can get a really decent buy through, but they're now up against Map Point on their map pick, Jay.
The Scout in that last round got 4 kills, by the way. 2 on Snatchy, 2 on... Oh my god. Upset. AK saved in on Dennis and Dia. M4s for Farland and Spiddy. The buyback from Endpoint is harsh. So harsh. Galil for Robin. AK's on 3. Diga for Crucial. They better come up with an opening start here, else they're going to be as good as done. Molotov against Dia will already try and force out his position. Information game, he still faces, still takes the real. Look at this Dia, he even double dips, but he doesn't get Crucial next.
And now Dennis wants to start getting aggressive, but Crucial is punishing this aggression. A couple of really overextending players towards the B stairs opens up that B opportunity. But ENDPOINT are still looking to try and head towards this A bomb site. Man advantage being found. ENDPOINT are in a really great position off the basis of Crucial fighting those two players just so aggressive.
ENDPOINT the man advantage for the moment here. AK picked up by Crucial, of course dropping it from his earlier teammate. Incendiary for Spitty, puts it out towards Ali, expecting there to be more presence there, but the bomb's going to make his way in. Back at Robin, Spitty faces, gets that kill, does not double up, flashbang in. Farman continues his sprays though, falls back in the midst of the Molotov. Down to 41 HP, but a 2-on-2 scenario gained by Sprout. They can work with this, they have worked with this. They've done magic with worse here, but 10 seconds left, Crucial, bomb plant. Not going to get denied here. They're going to sneak up against him. AK in the back line takes Snatchy next. M4 Fartham dealt with by Crucial. 4 kills for Crucial. Hero for ENDPOINT when they needed it the most.
Yeah, and they needed someone to step up, someone to make a big play, and that was Crucial right there. He was the anchor of the B stairs. He just waited for overextensions to come through, and I think Sprout may be a little bit disappointed there, Jay. They did a really good job of contesting with Dia from the stairs area. They didn't need to overextend like that, and they got punished for it. And post-Bloods come out in the 2-on-2, and ENDPOINT just stay alive. Another eco going the way of the Sprout side. Look how aggressive they are out through mid, though.
Straight in, flash is over. AK spray and Mighty Max to try catch them. Robin will get that first kill. And from here, the AKs can clean up house against the eco pistols. 3-6 to the ENDPOINT board at the very least. Speed tapping, Robin gets the kill on Spitting. And Sprout will have the rifles coming into round 22.
Maybe a tap pause could come out for Sprout just to kind of take a bit of a moment to sort of say, right, you know, we were really, really dominant in that first half. We won the pistol off a basis of a huge clutch coming out from Dia, then we followed up again. But really, it seems like the City side isn't looking as convincing as their T, so maybe if they lose this one here, they can just start to call in a bit of a pause, have a bit of a chat about the situation, because last thing you want to be doing is allowing a comeback to come through. ENDPOINT. No ramp control coming out for the T's, and, well, the City side, they've pretty much taken it immediately.
And for Dennis faces in, gets that one frag. Robin can quickly trade it back, but they've only gained so much control out of that. Bomb dropped, I believe, downstairs as well. So this B-face will only go so far with it. Diaz going to have to hold off against the defensive. Crucial will catch him instead. Meanwhile, towards the A ramp position, the T's are pressing inwards, and they've drawn all the attention towards the A site. The entries all come through. The B site is under T site control. Sprout are best to save their weapons from here.
Alrighty, this is getting at least a little bit more competitive, which is kind of what we wanted, Jay, in this series. ENDPOINT starting to bring it back as far as they can, but I draw similar parallels to that last series where we saw Forza taking on Fate, and it's like, right, once you get to map point, yeah, you might be able to give a few rounds here or there to your opposition, but it's only going to be a matter of time until Sprout get to 16.
That's that main thing as well. We talked about it in the last series. When you're this far down on a map point, it's just a case of when rather than if the map victory comes through for the team in the lead. And ENDPOINT can stall for as long as possible. They could even be on for the comeback, but I'll only entertain that issue once we hit about 10, 11 rounds or so. Realistically speaking, Sprout are just one good play away from ending this whole thing.
Yeah, that's it. One big move, one big play, one big clutch, whatever it is. They only need one of them. ENDPOINT. How much further can they stay in the game? We've seen Sprout taking a fair bit of ramp control on the City side. Oh, Surreal tries to push through that smoke by a lone soldier and just instantly gets deleted for it.
Marvin with the From us out, Smoke's down, Deagle's in, Speedy holds 2 kills, Deagle still set, AWP missing a shot, and they get ripped apart. And much like Inferno when Forza beat Fate earlier, it's Eco Pistols that win Sprout on Vertigo. Flames in a 1-on-5 with a clutch that's impossible, and a round that's doomed. 16-7, Sprout taking map 1 of the series.
Just so many mistakes there. Like, what is Surreal doing? Pushing through a smoke like that with no support. And that's a very easy round coming out from Sprout. And we did say, Jay, it was only going to be a matter of time until they got to 16. But I just did not see it happening on an eco like that. No one goes down. A 16th up for Sprout, and they take ENDPOINT's map pick. Jay, what a big surprise to start off the last quarterfinal with an iron.
No, absolutely. I mean, we said, you know, like Vertigo should be the confident map for ENDPOINT. You know, we just sort of assumed that based on the fact that they performed on it so well in the past. But you know, one of the issues that ENDPOINT have been having since the player break is that they've sort of looked a little bit ring rusty as of late. And this is another actual loss in the Vertigo pool for them. Like, you know, they're taking big losses against the likes of Mad Lions and stuff, which is fair enough. But even against some bigger other teams as well, like they've had a bit of a struggle to this map in the last 3 months, and maybe this map is slipping out of their pool here, Dweck.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot slipping out of their pool. You know, we saw them coming last place in FunSpark. We saw them having a decent showing at DreamHack Open. 9-5, they got invited to the playoffs in both cups, went down in the quarterfinals twice now. And you've just got to think, you know, is it a slump? Is it the player break? Is it not having Thomas? Whatever it is, it needs to get resolved. And it needs to at least be discussed going into Mirage, because they've got to change a lot going into that map.
And even if they change a lot, I don't even know if they'll be able to take that map. It is the pick of Sprout on for another 2-0 in today's quarterfinals. And imagine if they did it against this ENDPOINT side, a team that should have showed so much promise, showing so little on their map pick. Don't go anywhere. They've got to change their fate after the break. Welcome back to Malta Vibes. Welcome to what may well be the final map in the series. And our final map of the day here, based on the way that Sprout are playing against Endpoint, it was a dominating scoreline for Vertigo. And Vertigo, of all maps, for Sprout to beat out against Endpoint. This is a team that we have a incredible confidence sort of stance here from the past few months from Endpoint on this map versus the insta-ban of the other team. And somehow, the insta-banning team managed to take this 16-7. Like, where do you go from there? Like, how do you even think about approaching Mirage from this?
It's going to be a difficult one, and it's really got to come down to the attitude that's coming out from their in-game leader of Mighty Max to see if they can turn this around. Because, look, Mirage is a pretty decent map coming out from Endpoint. Like, it's certainly not a poor map for these guys. So, look, there is still a chance of these of Endpoint making it competitive, but the fact of the matter is, like, what happened there on Vertigo? Dio was just allowed way too much space on the T side. He was just coming up absolutely huge on the T side. We saw Dennis cutting off, like, every single rotate possible. And that's even like the stats line between the two top performers, Jay.
I mean, the logos are definitely the wrong way around, but you can definitely tell who's Dia and who's Crucial, because that is just, oh man, that is not a fun time at all. Dia just, I mean, he nearly 30 bombed in, what was that, like, 22 rounds or so?
23, like, yeah.
23 rounds and he got 29 kills. I mean, there was a point there where we thought we was going to 30 bomb in 17 rounds. Like, that's how good he was. He was allowed full control of the T side and full control of the CT side as well. Honestly, like, it's just not even comparable. That's how far gone this stat line really is.
Yeah, and one point I kind of want to make is that I just made a tweet about it. Dia on the T side, Jay, went 23-6, put up positive 17 KD, 147.5 ADR, and a rating of 2.58 on the T side. Like, yeah, look, he got to 29 kills, so he still did decently in the CT side, but it was just T side, and it was just entry. That's all it was. Multi-kill entries round after round, and you've got to hope that continues into Mirage, because damn, I want to see that again.
Mate, if Dia gets going on T side, then Endpoint are done, right? That's what I'm thinking about here. And that's the main sort of issue when it comes to weighing up this map, is the fact that, listen, we've got a set of players that are performing so well right now, and a set of players that are not, from both a team and an individual perspective, because there were so many missed shots, so many Orca crosshair placements, so many things going wrong there for the Endpoint side. And not even Flames, who's supposed to be like the star stand-in, is even doing any damage here, and just losing those components, losing that edge, and losing this this map in such a dominating fashion, it's not encouraging. I honestly feel like Endpoint are really, really up the creek this time around.
Oh, they are. Like, you even think about the Battle of the Orpas, right? I mean, Snatchy was a player we didn't speak about a lot in that last map, but he was consistently being able to find picks. He was hitting pretty much all the shots that he was getting. And for Crucial, we certainly saw on the City side over at B, he was missing a world of shots. He really wasn't on point. And you've got to think that, especially going into a map like Mirage, you've got to make sure that your AWP is on point. And if it's not, Snatchy's just going to be consistently getting so much freedom, because you'd have to feel that Crucial may feel pressured to try and overextend it to take AWP duels.
No, I mean, you can imagine that wouldn't have been the case. And the question for Crucial is that would he get punished for overextending for that kind of length of position? Like, especially on Mirage, where you can punish those particularly easy if for what is considered an overextension for the CT side, like pushing up mid, pushing apartments, pushing ramp, all the common positions where you expect the CT to aggress is where they can easily sort of like set themselves up for a good opening kill or a punish kill on that Sprout side. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done for Endpoint, a lot of adjustment that needs to sort of come through for them. And I mean, at this point, as you mentioned, I hope they had conversations in that map break, because they're definitely going to need to change the pace up right here. Map is coming up to be, we're going to be seeing the knife round coming in between these two squads to get the map started and get the choices side going. A reminder to you all that multipliers brought together, home gaming excellence, Twig. I don't know if Endpoint can do this. I really don't know if they can.
Yeah, look, I think this should be a pretty simple map to come out from Sprout. I think this should be a pretty simple 2-0 now. I looked at the fact of thinking, right, they're going to win second and third map, not the first. So the fact that that's already happened, I think it's going to be a big stretch for Endpoint to try and bring this back. Look, at least if they can make it competitive, then we can have quite an exciting game on our hands here. Because, yeah, we've had a lot of 2-0s so far today, but like the 2-0s have just been so one-sided, which is so uncommon for the Malta Vibes playoffs. And it's kind of it's a bit of a positive, a bit of a negative. I don't really know sort of which way to look at it, but I think it's just because the caliber of teams are just, they start to rise up as the weeks sort of progress through the Malta vibes, Jay.
We did mention that this week was the most stacked week of them all, and Sprout proving that right here. We know that they are the highest rated team in the entire playoffs, and they may well just prove it right here with a simple victory moving into those semi-finals. And the question is, how much further can they go? Can they even beat Forza? I mean, that would be a challenge, but a challenge that I think Sprout will be up to the task for, you know?
Yeah, you would think so. You would certainly think so. And look, for Endpoint, it's just about recovery. Like, even if they get to double digits and they lose this map, I would still say that's a recovery for themselves after what happened on Vertigo. They need to make sure that they're mentally resetting, they're playing with a lot of confidence. And I want to see Flames getting fired up because, look, he was quite quiet in that first game, only had 8 kills in the first map. So if he can stand up, then there is always a chance. And yeah, look at the odds over at Loopbet, 1.11 up for the Sprout side and just over 5-1 for Endpoint. So if you do want to get involved in those odds, you can check out our fantastic betting partners of Loopbet. All the information is in the Twitch banners below. 10 free CSGO spins and up to €100 bonus on your deposit. Jay, jumping into the pistol round, I'm expecting a brawl.
I am expecting a brawl too, especially with Sprout on that T side. Again, keep your eyes on D because I feel like he's going to be your main man to watch here. Sprout set up with the utility on Spiddy, got Glocks across the majority of the board, I can think. Yeah, they got Kevlar, so no one's upgraded pistols there for the T side. The CT side may well be different though. Flames yet to invest. They got Kevlar for Crucial and Robin, Mighty Max with the Diffuse double flash. Flash smoke HE for Surreal. Flames is not buying any Kevlar. Okay, don't know what that's about, but here we go. It's pistol round for Sprout, straight up and out into the B bomb site. Smokes down, flashes over. Robin with a pistol, ready to face forward first. Sees several players pouring out of the apartments as Flames and Crab themselves against the Dia. Frags on Robin, looking for a hell of a lot more because Dennis is low. Dia, non-makers double kill. Hammond was Mighty Max on the back line. Farman gets that frag back and Stapchi doubles through as well. 5-on-2, immediate control. Sprout forcing Endpoint out of the B bomb site. There's no way back for the retake.
There's so many players damaged up. You've got 4 players that are like 50 HP or lower, but the kills just keep trickling in for the Sprout side. No one's gone down. Finally, Dia falls, and it's all down to Surreal out for market. A 1-on-4 attempt to try and bring this back. There's even 2 players out towards on the T side, out through mid. And Surreal on the side itself, Snatchy with a swing, and Sprout pick up a very nice pistol round indeed. Endpoint, they certainly did a lot of damage, but they didn't get the headshots, Jay.
Yeah, shot down immediately by Sprout, and again, it was Dia on the entry. He didn't get the multi-frags, but he set up the rest of the CT side. Oh, sorry, the T side, I should be more specific. Allowed all those skills to spiral in for Favre and Snatchy Spiddy. Only player not getting involved is Dennis, and he was very low on HP anyway, but Sprout with a very confident pistol to start things off. Another technical pause, I imagine, for Endpoint. They had connection issues with Flames in the first map, so yeah, Rock. Endpoint. Chilling at the moment. Trying to figure out if they can figure this out very early on. I mean, they're going to be up for force buy in this next round, so not too much pressure, not too much of a rush here.
One thing to kind of take into consideration, Jay, is that the fact that Endpoint have been clawing this entire year to try and break into the top 30 of HLTV, where Sprout have just broken into the top 20 for the first time since July last year. That's how long it's been for these guys. And they've certainly shown that coming off the back of a decent showing in Cologne against Tier 1 teams, that they've still got what it takes in the Tier 2 level. Again, we saw a really close series against North, where they lost to them in the group stage, then beat Whistler to get into this playoff position. And starting things off in the quarterfinals fantastically after winning Endpoint's map pick. Starting on T-side 2 of Mirage could actually work out quite nicely after the fact they went, what, 13-2 up in that first half?
Imagine we saw a similar half coming through from Sprout here. At that point, like, I don't even know what else you'd do. Like, Endpoint of even on an awkward position. Obviously, the tech issues are not helping that fact. I'm not sure how much that will weigh down on the mentality game, how much that will weigh down on their confidence, but all intangible stuff. All we have is what's on server to go off of, and Sprout right now, they're definitely putting the numbers at the moment. And the tech issues are just being told right now from our producer that the endpoint side, we've got Robin having some technical connection issues, so just lagging at the moment, just trying to get that sorted. I imagine it'll probably be one of those like routing issues.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. So nothing you can do about
issues.
it. Just, I said routing issues.
No, you didn't. Watch back the VOD, mate.
Listen, right?
I'm telling you, I heard it. I'm telling you, watch back the VOD.
Listen,
bring up
right?
the Twitch stream.
Hanging around you has really messed with my English, right? So don't get me started, right?
It's about proper English.
Proper English is a routing, so there you go.
Yeah.
You can see Robin is just reconnecting to the server, probably to just reset an internet issue. I imagine probably just a router reset. So again, hopefully it will get sorted relatively quickly. But this is one of those things that's like well out of control of the players and well out of our control as well, Dwayne.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think that I could help, but I can't. Not really much I can do. Sit here and just keep talking.
Hold on. Why weren't you an admin at one point?
Yeah, what am I gonna do? Robin's in Sweden.
I was saying, you should have some tech knowledge about this. Like, surely you would know what to do.
Well, I've never admined online. I've only ever admined on LAN. So I suppose you could help a player like how to reset a modem and things like that. Like unless they didn't know, but you would think. Well, actually, no. You're probably right. You know, there probably is players that don't know how to do things like that. Not to say Robin doesn't know, but when I thought about it, like, man, just some. You know, it's so surprising because like there are so many sick CS players, and you think, man, like, you know, if these guys, you know, they're like MS and like how quickly they can shoot, you know, how quickly they type too. Like you'd think that they're like on point in like tech savvy. No, not at all.
I remember a story from an Epic LAN at one point, and it's a UK player. I'm not going to say his name because you'll probably know who he is. But there was a UK player a handful of years ago who couldn't figure out why I can't remember. It's like his PC kept crashing, and he couldn't figure out why. And the reason why was because he kept kicking the power unit on his PC.
Oh
he got
my
excited.
goodness! Oh.
And he couldn't figure out why, so we were just sitting there, just like watching over his game, seeing when his PC crashed, knowing he kicked out his power cable, just like, dude, just calm down for 10 seconds. It's like you couldn't figure out that.
Well,
every single time.
The last Epic I went to, there was a player that was on Twitter saying, like, do I have to bring my modem? Like, oh my goodness.
Oh, Jesus Christ. See, that's what we're dealing with below endpoint on the UK CS ladder, okay? So have mercy on us. And have mercy on endpoint as they go on to their second round. They're forced by Scout set for Crucial, SMG for Surreal. It's a forced by round, so I can't expect much compared to the rifles that are coming out from Sprout.
Looking to see if they can find a bit of contention. See Crucial looking for quite an aggressive peek out from the top con smoke or bottom con smoke in connector itself. He's got Robin to try and back him up through underpass. Sprout looking to slowly take this top mid control. They don't really have a lot of utility in this Sprout side. And the reason for that is, Jay, is because it's mainly rifles. It's Galils and AKs rather than buying up sort of the UMPs and the MAC-10s on the majority of players.
Smokes down to common positions for the T side. A counter smoke, I think, from the CT side came through to smoke off Palace and drive Spitty away. Mid control from Sprout. Establishing themselves in connector. Onto the short position as well on Snatchy's part. Under 60 seconds to go. It's smoke up Crucial with that scout. Good connection to Snatchy's head. Returning the favor from the last round when Snatchy got his head off over on the A side defensive several times in several rounds. And now on towards the B play for the Sprout side. Farvan getting caught in the back. Dia frags on one, can't quite take the second. The spray's a bit awkward, but then it comes in with the flank position, takes Flames down. So 2-for-1 trades, making it 3-for-1 as Dia doubles up, gets the bomb plant in.
It probably has to be a save, and there's even a backstab coming out from Spitty. Surreal should have no idea, does know now that the contact's been made, but they've got to save, really see if they can bring these two weapons into the following round. And after what was a great shot from Crucial to start things off, we see Sprout just trying to split into that B bomb site, dealing with the anchors pretty easily. A second on the board coming out for the core German side. I'll tell you what, Speedy and Tetris, there could be an opportunity for him to at least take down one player. Thing is, though, they've got to realize for the T-side economy, it's not great themselves, so going hunting might not be the best option in the world.
Speedy, catch that one frag. Nice $600 kill to just sort of wear down the endpoint side, so they don't have much to work with going into this next round. It'll be full eco for the CT cap. Sprout will be on for their 3-0 start. So a start that they would love to have. Again, to start the dominance above endpoint, a similar sort of start to the earlier map over on Vertigo. And they can just keep this up, then again, the confident 2-0 is definitely on the table for this Sprout side.
Yeah, especially if this sort of spirals out of control, at least in the early game. Crucial being boosted up to that short position. And seeing if he can find anything with the scout. Out towards mid. Quite a few players to deal with. There are 3 on the T side, but it's a very split default. Player out towards the apps and as well towards Palace. Oh, Robin. Dealt with. Flames to find a response, but you've got to think not too much will be found in a round like this.
Yeah, Flames that AK, just have to hold on to it towards the apartments. The bomb plant secured towards the A site. Shots on from Surreal, not connecting against Speedy. Speedy will get another $600 kill, and Flames just left to hold on to the AK. Don't extend too far out of the apartments, mate, because otherwise that's going to lose the rifle. And therefore, Endpoint will not get away with anything in this round. So 3-0 start for Sprout. Endpoint up for the buy up here for round 4.
And I know Dennis has been on the lineup for Sprout for quite some time, but I think it was a really good decision to bring him back. Because do you remember he was on Sprout when they had like Keto and Sirison and Merbert, but then left to go to join Big, and then came back to Sprout. And just like his lurking abilities, at least these last few months I've watched from Sprout, have just been phenomenal. And Flames, doesn't hold on to the AK. That could have been big to bring it into the next round. But it doesn't really make the biggest of differences in the world. The money line's looking pretty good for Endpoint. They're going to be able to get a buy-in going into round 4. But it's been a while since we've seen like a roster move. I think Snatchy was the most recent player behind Dia, right? That sounds about right.
I'd have to verify that, but yes, that sounds about right to me.
Because I think Smooya was in the mix, wasn't it? Or there was some like talk that Smooya might have been joining, and then in the end it was Snatchy.
Yes, I think that's the case. Yeah, that sounds about right to me, yeah. There you go, then. That confirms it. With a Sprout, regardless of who's entered the roster recently, it's all about the cohesion that Snatchy will bring to the table, and certainly his sniping skill has been on point. Again, good shots to the head of the Scout, the AWP set in for this next round, where the Scout passed off to Spiddy instead. And Crucial with his own up on the buyback here for Endpoint. Sprout going for the mid control for the moment. Looking like they're set for a split in towards A. They've got the bomb committed through the Palace area. Not far from there to back it up for the moment.
It looks to be a bit of a fake out from Speedy from short, seeing if he could pull any rotations away from this Scout. He's got Snatchy to back him up. This is getting really interesting now. So the bomb is with 2 players in Palace, but they've really set themselves up for a heavy B commitment.
Finally, the B commitment's going to work well for the CT side. Flames and Seville getting 2 nice picks. Player on Palace falls, and the T still working out towards this B bomb site, trying to draw their attention away, but they're just falling one by one here. Flames and Mighty Max with 2 more frags, and Farvan is left alone. Out towards Palace, the 1-on-5. Just best to commit and try to see if they can take some rifles away, get the loss bonus on the death. Molotov in against Surreal. I think he heard that footstep. Molotov to try and drive him out of position. Further Molotov in to drive him out in the open. But CT's have rotated 15 seconds, and he's just going to get faced in. Shut down by Surreal. Very awkward round there from Sprout. It definitely felt like it should have been, you know, a B commitment with the way that they set themselves up, like you mentioned, but just I don't know what that default was about there for Sprout. That did not make any sense.
It's just overthinking things. That's all it really comes down to. Now, when they're on Vertigo, all they really did was like Dia like frag, and they really didn't have like too much of like fake outs and things like that. It was just finding opening kills and trading out really nicely. Now that round there on Mirage was scrappy, it was unorthodox, and it was just trying to bait in too many rotations. It was just overthinking things to the max. They brought so much presence over towards B to try and sell a fake. It didn't quite work. Then the Palace player went down, and then you've got the bomb still in Palace. I think for Sprout, just go back to basics. Go for your defaults out from mid, start to split together as a unit, maybe go for your set piece executions, but to run another round like that, I'm just not a fan of it from Sprout when they've got such an advantage over this endpoint side.
We'll give a first round back to the CT forces. Look at the AK out the gate for Dia, though. Snatch is going to be the man to land that kill on Crucial, but again, with the mid presence from Sprout, Endpoint are going to get forced out of the way and losing that opening man advantage in the first 15 seconds. Dia backed up, still tapping his way through the smoke, so they will start to clear from these default positions. A re-smoke can come down from the CT side, but putting that one towards connector instead of short, they're going to try and siphon off the A option here for Sprout.
Mighty Max pushed up aggressively, but the Molly's going to try and force him back. And I saw a video recently where Mighty Max was highlighted for a certain smoke that he uses quite deep in the B apartments to give him a bit of a one-way on a bit of an elevation angle. So maybe we'll see that coming out a little bit later on today. Falling back into the B bomb site, a little bit more passive. A good way to be able to deal with Crucial in the early round from Dia, just swinging out from mid. And down to a minute on the clock. Maybe the split up through connector, but Flames has been able to take down Dia to at least find a response back.
Right on that. 4-on-4 situation, ladder room and sniper's control from Flames and Robin for the moment as the AK starts moving forward. Surreal caught off by Snatch. He no-scopes his way on, trying to flick back towards Flames, keeping his eyes on underpass and the window room. Now Farven moves up close, hearing footsteps towards connector. Going to try and siphon off the players here at the jungle area. Turn around, face in, contact against Robin, takes that frags, but he gets Flames next up. And Mighty Max left alone, 1-on-3. Tonight a bomb plot perhaps here, actually. He's seeing the man in the open, tapping his way to Dennis in the back line. But does not get any kills for it. Sprout coming up with a confident fourth on this one. And Endpoint's buy might look a little bit weak coming into round 6.
I'll tell you what, Flames is looking good. Yeah, it's only really early into Mirage, but he's finding a lot of impact. He's finding a lot of very important kills. The fact that it's a 5-on-4 for so long for Sprout, Flames finds the answer back in to even up the playing field. As Sprout end up just splitting in the A bomb site. They get so much information. The utility usage is fantastic from the ramp and the Palace players to allow Snatchy up through connector and Eco to come out from Endpoint. Oh, okay, that's a good op shot.
It works, it's a kill. Flames immediately taken out here by the T side. Snatchy coming up this basis here with that frag. Deagle of Robin tapping his way through, but being caught off by Dennis as he pushes through that smoke. Damage to 14 HP. The Deagle does not get away with a frag back. Dia catches Robin. He exits out of the Palace area. Falls back, does not want to give up the ghost, especially as Surreal's getting headshots from Dennis. Get to control. Conceded by Sprout, but they've got easy access to the B site from here.
Dia wants to overextend out for Palace and could potentially see if he could find an opening. He'd have to swing out very wide onto Surreal, playing a big off angle on this A bomb site. And slowing the time down, Sprout have been so much more passive on this T side in comparison to what they were on Vertigo. But they're being able to find the picks because of it. And Crucial, AK in hand, no armor. He's the last one left.
AK sees Farven, get an exit frag. Snatchy shuts him down instead, no chance. The money will come back for Endpoint though. Buy-ups will see the AWP in for Crucial, M4s across the rest of the CT board. North Sprout side also have their standard AK sets here. Most of the weapons saved from that last round. A couple of reinvestments, particularly for Dennis. Max loss bonus for Endpoint at this stage here. They need to get a good round back on the board here to try and keep the momentum away from Sprout. Try and start things off on their CT side to get some decency going. AWP of Crucial already facing aggressive Dia here in the Palace position. Opens up the round here with a frag. But meanwhile, the mid controls come out so aggressive. But Crucial's ready to shut it down.
That's huge. That's really big because Dennis was working on the edge of the smoke there. Fafin has made his way into window undetected. This could be the answer back, but not the 3-on-3. The advantage still being held. Spitty to open up. Now they can try and split into A, but this is looking very awkward for Sprout. Endpoint are in a really great position here.
2 standing for Sprout, man advantage for Endpoint. Snatchy is set with the bomb onto the short position, and Spinny's going to try and find another way to work into the site. May well find a wraparound through Murder Hole towards B, and a split in that could work out wonders. He's ready, not for Robin. Jumping up on top of the table gives Robin basically a one-way angle on towards him. And Flames has seen Snatchy. He knows what's up. May also read the fact there's an AWP there as well, so might just wait for the CTs to rotate towards him, just bait out the information, try to see if he can bait in the player to make a mistake. But they know what's going on here. 40 seconds, Endpoint basically have this round on lock.
The thing is, though, he goes back to A. He only has to deal with one player of Surreal. Now he knows. Trying to see if he can bait out Robin to get in through the Murder Hole. The AWP's not going to connect. Robin, 3 kills, picks up the secondary AWP. And this is something we've spoken about for Endpoint for the majority of this year, Jay, is the lack of double AWPing for this Endpoint side. They've been gifted a secondary AWP, so Mighty Max is going to pick it up. No, it's going to be Surreal, actually, in the end.
Surreal and Crucial are the main sort of AWPers here for this side. I mean, whenever they do get double AWP set up, it's usually Crucial, the man that's taking it. Oh, sorry, Surreal, I should say. I'm trying to be an idiot. Whatever. And Surreal's taking the mid control as well. Crucial set instead out towards the A bomb site. Already flashes coming over towards the mid control. Sprout on a force splice. They've got AKs to deal with, and they're committing basically free frontal outside of the apartments. Utility coming in for the set piece. Spitty gets Surreal to drop. That's 1 AWP taken out already. 2 M4s on site. Close range. Mac 10. And then it sees them both. Sprays through. Gets so much damage to Flames and taken out Mighty Max initially. 4-on-3 scenario. And Farthen facing up. Takes Flames down in the end. So 2 left standing for the CT side.
Oh my goodness, these duels are just dirty. Like, the fact that we see the opening kill coming out from Speedy, just spamming through a smoke with the deagle up from top mid, and then from there, just the execution out to B. They had some really great shots, trying to force some awkward duels to come out from Endpoint. It felt like they wanted to try and play passive, but at the same time, they needed to keep fighting. Even the Mac 10 of Dennis was just so fast out. And now the money line for the Endpoint side is just in ruins, Jay. Hardly any money in the reserve. Holding on to this M4 is just absolutely everything to follow up. Can he hold on to it?
Five seconds to the hunt. No, Sprout going to back off. He'll hold on to it. Get all he needs to out of this one. You can get all you need out of our case partners at Hellcase using codes Multi-V and Multi-V 15 for some extra money and free 15% refill bonuses. Take advantage of the updated case battlers, upgraders, tons of giveaways per month and over 100 cases only at hellcase.com. An eco coming through from Endpoint here. They do not have the money to spend on hellcase.com, so make sure you get yourselves better than them at this stage here.
Now that sound cue may have come out for the underpass players, actually. The Robin failed the boost up towards short. They certainly would have been able to hear that. A bit of information over to the Sprout side. I haven't really seen a lot of underpass control coming out from either team, to be fair. A way to split into window. Now, we've seen Robin being the player that's kind of like holding off the rotator out through CT. This time around, though, they don't really have eyes on window.
There's Mighty Max there with the kill on Speedy to open things up. Frag found. Pistols working in for the CT side. Leg shot coming through from the AWP. Robin almost burned a little bit. Burst through the M4. 2 points FL. Snatchy finally finishes off the job as Crucial and Flames also fall very quickly. Mighty Max is very, very low and also dealt with as the penultimate frag of the round. Nice and simple there for the Sprout side to clean up, even though Endpoint held a bit of resistance there on CT. And once again, with a 5-round lead for Sprout, they are on to take the half on T side.
Yeah, they're on to really start to put the pressure on. We saw them start T on Vertigo too, and that's where they were able to really come into their own. And it's not even Dia that's putting up some massive performances on Mirage. It's kind of like a team performance, to say the least. There hasn't really been a one individual stepping up massively. I mean, Snatchy's been very impactful with the AWP. This is a lot quicker, though. This is going to be a B-split. Look how fast this is.
No stop, and Mighty Max will punish that at the very least. Dennis goes down, Snatchy trades it back, but Mighty Max with his 2K. Dia trades back to a 3-on-3 though, still looking for his big multi-frag pop-off round. M4 of Robin rounds that corner, takes Farben down. Dia swings out, gets his 2K. Again, keeping us even on the trades. As the bomb plant is secured, it will be a 2v2 retake for Endpoint.
And it's down to the poles once again, Jay. We've seen what they've been able to do in post plants before. This time around, though, it's all down to Snatchy into the one-on-one, and he knows the play out towards Market. A great shot coming out to Crucial, and they keep the streak alive. 8-2 up for Sprout. Another eco has to go the way of Endpoint. And Snatchy just reads this so well, knows the fact that smoke's come out from Market, knows exactly where Crucial is, hits a fantastic shot, times it perfectly. Man, Endpoint just can't hold off on some of these retakes where you'd think they've got a lot of advantages.
Right, Snatchy is becoming the real main man of this map up. Dia stole the show on Vertigo, but it's the Snatchy main performance. 13 kills so far in this map. Not as amazing as Dia had in previous, but even so, he is the top fragger of the server, and he is making things work for Sprout. It's the rifles of the AKs that are stepping up to the plate right now. Dennis getting his kill. Dia enters, looks for his 2K. Not against Surreal, though. The AK recovered on his dead teammate, so Farben and Dia to fall, but B site is open, and Sprout could just push straight in. Go for a bomb plant at this stage. Endpoint, their best place to hold onto these AKs and just concede control.
That's what? That smoke, like, what is that? I've never seen the lineup, and I've never seen the placement, because that certainly was not supposed to land there. That was supposed to be a CT smoke. I'm not sure what he did wrong there, but well, Surreal's just going to sit in it now.
I mean, why not? They're not coming for you. If they do, they're going to make their way from short. The AK could be up with exit frag, so why not take that chance? Endpoint are going to have a buyback in the next round, but the only thing with saving the AKs is to save the firepower here for the CT side.
And I'm just thinking like that, because he sort of like had a point where he was strafing to the right and then jump throw. So I'm guessing he needed to be further forward, right? Because it sort of bounced not enough, or maybe he threw it a little bit too early on the strafe. But anyway, it's something that Snatchy can kind of look back through in the demos after. But it doesn't really make the biggest of differences now. 9 rounds up for Sprout. And I tell you what, Jay, I'm getting a very, very similar gut feeling that this is going to be like a mirror to what we saw in the first map.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because I was getting that feeling from about a couple of rounds ago.
You just didn't want to say it, like...
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, everybody knows that I'm a massive Endpoint fan. Seeing them like this, it's just like, oh...
Breaks your heart.
Why, guys? Why?
Yeah.
Like supporting Dagenham and Redbridge, for God's sake, you know? It's just... We were good once, and now we're just getting terrible. As were Endpoint a few months ago, and now they're being trounced by Sprout. Yes, it is against Sprout, but even so, 4-on-4. Nades up, Dia falls to Crucial, so Endpoint going to get away with a bit of an advantage out here in this one. Flames, 5 points of health, could fall to Farben. Oh, flip back's perfect, and we stand at evens again.
5 HP or not, that was such an adjustment coming out from Faffen. A 3-on-3. Now, there could be a swing to come out from Robin in through window. Could potentially try and catch one of the team members sleeping off guard in through mid. Split into the B bomb site, perhaps? Man, they've got options here. The low HP, though, to come out from Faffen and Snatchy does make this a little bit more difficult, especially with the fact that we've seen an aggressive player coming out from Crucial towards a ramp position. He's getting a bit of information, so they can actually gamble stack up at this B bomb site, Jay.
$40 seconds to the hit. Snatchy with the AWP. Checking out the ladder room just in case, keeping his eyes on the connector rotation. It's all going to be down to Mighty Max and Robin here in the defense. Both players held towards bench. One player watching the apartments, a bit of an aggressive off-angle. Molotov's in AWP, facing Mighty Max, sees him, takes him down. Farven trades back onto Max, though. Burst up from Robin, needs to get his 2K, only gets the one frag, but dropping that bomb out on the bomb position.
Oh.
He actually picks it up, gets the bomb plant in, but now Farven, a one-on-one for the ace here for Sprout. Crucial with his AWP play, set towards shorts. And Farven, all it takes is an awkward wide face for this to get shut down, but all it takes is for Crucial to make a mistake, gives him invop, the AK facing in, sees the shoulder, gets the headshot, secures all 5 frags for Sprout, and gets 10 to the T-side board.
Second ace of today's game, Jay. In this series alone, we've seen some just impeccable plays. An ace, I believe, what was up for Dia, and now an ace to go the way of Farfen. Wow, that's huge. That's really big. And for ENDPOINT, like, that was their chance right there. That was probably one of the biggest contentions we'd seen from them yet. 10-2. Double orbs coming out. This time it's Flames with the AWP. I think this is the first time we've seen him in the AWP in this matchup.
Biddy, kill to open things up here. Sprout. I don't care what they got to put on the ENDPOINT side. They're just going to continue to press forward. Take the opening kill very early on here. Frag against Crucial. Flames with the AWP picked up. Nades in against Speedy. Lands a bit too low for him. Seeing that player towards the jungle area. He misses that first shot on cross. Still got Speedy on side though. Drops that bomb. Snatchy turns it around. Speedy sees Mighty Max coming out. Deals with him and Flames. All that remains 1 versus 4. And this will be 11 to the board. Sprout ENDPOINT. Again, you know, it's one of those things, like, Sprout are just really good right now, and they weren't expected to win this series, but this is just a disaster scoreline at this stage, you know?
I think you're absolutely right there. Like, you hit it well in the fact of, yeah, they weren't expected, but they were certainly expected to put up a much better performance than this. Doesn't matter who you're taking on. You know, maybe if you were taking on a top tier 1 team, that would be a different story. But Sprout aren't even a tier 1 team at this point. Yeah, they're starting to battle for that spot, but they're a top tier 2 contender. And for ENDPOINT, stand in or not, you know, they need to put up so much more of a fight than what we're seeing from them today. And it is sad to sort of see the big drop off with the fact that Thomas is not playing in Malta Vibes. And that just with a single stand in, it changes the complexion of everything, which it shouldn't, Jay.
Up in. Snatchy with the big green gun, already ready to take face here towards Connector, going to support Farven's entry into the A-bomb site. Snatch goes down to Flames though, caught off guard there from the sniper's nest. Farven gets Crucial, goes on a 4-on-4. And Farven doubling up against Robin, knows where Flames is. Molotov's in towards short position, going to try and siphon off the B-site control, continuing to see where they're at. Nade on. Ooh, dropped by Mighty Max. 3-on-3 now. The damage has come through for ENDPOINT.
There's a lurk from Dennis to open up B, so I tell you what, the A players can just fall back, pick up that bomb and bring it over to the B bomb site if they want, making a lot of noise, and I think that's why the information's come through. In saying that though, with the sandwich player on the CT side, they're going to hear the footsteps to hear them backing off, so now ENDPOINT might think, hang on a minute, have they found an opening at B? Can we start to rotate in?
Mighty Max. Oh, Dennis is back turned. Oh, you didn't see him. Max didn't see him. The back still turned though. Dennis has no idea. That's a deagle kill. That's a way in now for the CT side. They haven't got the bomb control. 20 seconds. They've got to commit right now. Sprout don't have any time to take a face. They've got to go straight towards the bomb site. Get that bomb plant in. And they're going to hear the footsteps. They know what's coming up here. Mighty Max, deagle set into the truck position. Back behind the van. Speedy going to plant default. Perfect chance for Max to deny it. Sees Dia, but Dia gets the kill. Just enough cover to support it. The Flames comes up with a deagle, AWP headshot, I should say. And now 1-on-1. Surreal with his own deagle. Face gets the kill and just saves the round for ENDPOINT.
And that's more like it. It would have been devastating, absolutely devastating for ENDPOINT if they didn't close that out after having such an advantage. We see Dennis trying to clear out the sort of apartments face to be able to at least bring that bomb forward. Doesn't check behind him. The timing looked a little bit awkward for Mighty Max, but he makes it work in the end. Doesn't deny that bomb. Big clutch coming out in the 1-on-1. And you thought for a minute, Jay, that there could have been an opportunity for Spitty to close it out once again in another post-plant clutch. But ENDPOINT come out on top. They recover that orb. They get a third round up. And I don't want to say that's the way back in, but more rounds like that could be the way back in.
I mean, it's a decent way in for ENDPOINT at the moment to potentially convert an 11-4, which would be a recovery on this half. M4 set, Spitty, Smoke, ready for the set piece. No, actually not a set piece, just the single smoke down towards connector. Sprout playing up the defaults here, hoping to bait in ENDPOINT for a kill or two.
Yeah, ENDPOINT are really, really passive. You can see the way that they're looking at the mini-map at the moment. The only player that's aggressive is really Mighty Max out through the apartments. Outside of him, very, very passive. Nade coming out towards the ramp entrance. Just a standard set piece looks to come out from Sprout.
Farven, crucial. AK to the kill. Surreal still held towards Sandwich. He's got backup and Robin right behind him, but needs to hold this position and ideally needs to get a kill as the players start to cross out towards the bomb site. Farven's going to check it. 3 standing, continue to extend around towards connector. Backs a turn. They're going to try and rotate out position. Find a new way to work in this retake. They've got to go for here on round 15. Burst through, Flames does see Dennis, tag him down. Flames gets fathered in the end, but returned to by Statue with the AWP. AK on site, seen, pushed out position, but still Dia gets Robin and Mighty Max. All that remains, Dia ends up with 2 frags to close out the half. 12-3 favor Sprout.
My goodness, this is just an unbelievable T-side. What do you say about that? Yeah, the fact that we saw the first map, we saw 13 rounds on T for Sprout, now going into Mirage with 12 rounds on T. It just seems like their T-side's just unstoppable, and ENDPOINT have not been able to find the success way back in. Oh, don't know what I expected that, though. The odds heavily favoring the Sprout side. And if you do want to get involved in the odds, maybe if you want to have a cheeky pun on ENDPOINT to bring it back, you can check out our fantastic betting partners of LootBet. 10 free CSGO spins and up to 100 euros bonus on your deposit. I mean, I wouldn't suggest it, but there's always a chance, right?
Look, best of luck to you if you do, okay? 12-3 for Sprout, pistol set, defuse kit in with Dennis with a smoke down, and the USPs, the CZs of the CT side. Seeing where Spitty's at, seeing the player in the back as well. The raid boss of the ENDPOINT side can't quite seem to find any kills. He's baited in the player's attention towards the A side play, though. Dennis comes up with 1 frag. Max and Surreal overwhelm B, though. The trades come back to a 3-on-3, so retake is on for the CT side, but they've lost a kit here.
Yeah, no kit, no utility. It's just going to be armor, but there is a big backstab coming out from Snatchy, but now it's been seen, and now the T side know about it. On towards the site, Mighty Max himself, the bench player goes down from Flames. That's a big kill from Snatchy, gets away with a couple of kills. And ENDPOINT, it looked like they set themselves up perfectly in that post plant, but not the case whatsoever. They recover that kit, they don't even need it, they get on the bomb. It's a 13 for Sprout.
Wow, I thought ENDPOINT were going to hold off a little bit better than that, but as soon as I goosed down Statue, especially, you know, I thought even being on solo HP, it should have been easy trades, but no, he got the headshots in despite the issues. 13 for Sprout, pistol on their favor. ENDPOINT did get the bomb plant, though. They're going for the early rifles as opposed to the first, second force buy. So basic pistols in a flash from Mighty Max is the extent of the entire investment. Sprout should clean this up, but ENDPOINT have got to chime in round 18.
I'm really surprised they didn't force it, Jay. Like, in the fact that you get a bomb plant, I thought that could have been the way back in for ENDPOINT, but they go with a little bit more of a conservative approach, a little bit safer, and just running the Deagles. I mean, there's still an opportunity for them to do a lot of damage. Fafin to start things off, though. That's a great kill to start off.
Pistol in, burst even Farven seeing 2 more players towards the mid control. Dennis there to support. There's a clean up. Bomb dropped, Flames alone towards the apartments. 1 on 5 for him. Incendiary set and everything, and there's no way left. 14 to the board, Sprout. And yeah, ENDPOINT again looking for the rifles. And if they can't get this next round, then I feel like it's going to be over, Dweg. We did see the comeback from 14, was it 14-2, I believe, from the last map or something along those lines. It would just
yeah,
get
that
up
sounds
towards the
right.
7
Yeah,
rounds.
yeah.
So, you know,
because
there's a possibility for Endpoint to do it here, but don't count on it, you know?
yeah, no, I think actually no. I think it was 14-2. Yeah, that sounds about right. Whatever it was just a ridiculous amount. And there was a bit of a comeback, certainly. And this is the chance for Endpoint to at least show their fans, Jay, that they can at least put up somewhat of a contest where for the Sprout fans, I think they're saying, right, let's get this over and done with pretty quickly so we can all eat our dinner tonight. We want this game to be done.
Already damage done to Surreal early on for the Sprout side, but it's very quiet and passive from the Endpoint contact. Mid control established from passive, and of course pushed up towards the apartments area. One player in the ramp control. Robin's very passive in his own right though, so he's not even taking a face directly onto the site or even out towards the entrance of ramp. Endpoint are going to go towards the mid control. Bomb committed there and everything. They'll have options from here, but with the underpass established, it looks like a split in towards A connector.
It looks like that's going to be the case. Now, it could get a little bit interesting, especially if Speedy continues to play aggressive out from ramp, because as soon as they'll take down the split, that could make this whole round turn apart, especially with the fact that Snatchy has swung out from mid before it gets re-smoked, and that's the amount of advantage being found from Sprout. Where's the way back in for Endpoint?
Such good timing as well. The smoke cleared out, but so the AEG drops the bomb. Farven gets Max, and now 3 are left standing. Sprays through, still Snatchy peeks in for his 2K. SMG is Spitty, gets close to the frag, but no cigar. Surreal and Robin are low, though, and now Robin's alone. 20 seconds, 3 players to find. Snatchy shuts him down. 3K to his name, map and match point, and quarterfinal point for Sprout.
They are looking to take on Forza, Jay, in that lower bracket, or at least the lower section of the semi-final. And you've got to think that that could be quite an interesting match because, well, for Forza, they're looking for their 3rd victory in Malta Vibes, and for Sprout, they're looking to do as much damage as possible. How much further forward can Endpoint go before they get trumped up? 15-3. It will be 12 rounds in a row to get to OTJ.
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, sorry to be blunt, but yeah. Position play here from the Endpoint side. Getting defaults here with their force out. The Mac 10s, the Allils, whatever they can muster. Got to come up with a good round here, but most likely they're going to be done.
It all just comes off the rotations from Sprout, because you can see they've got a player of Fafin that's attention's drawn over towards the mid position. Really needs to be brought back over to the B bomb side, because Robin's been able to get into window room. Oh, I tell you what though, Crucial can sell the fake on the A play.
M4 sets is Max. Oh, Flames. Good shot with Robin getting a Mac 10 kill on Farthen. And well, there is the recovery and survival round for Endpoint. And we wanted to see 5-on-2 just like that. Sprout shut out. They're going to hold the AWP of the M4.
Oh, what a running decoy coming out from Flames. Absolutely destroying the competition. Okay. That's more like it from Endpoint. Worked off the basis of some information really well. We saw Crucial trying to sell as much of a fake over towards A as possible, especially taking down the player towards Ticket of Snatchy. From there, just a quick play into B. Some really great duels come out. No one goes down. Hardly anyone takes damage. And a 4th on the board for Endpoint. And Sprout, though, you'd have to expect 2 players saved in, AWP and an AK. They'll probably force the issue going into round 20. Dennis can even buy a secondary AWP if he wants to. Haha.
Reinvestment coming through from Sprout, as you would expect. Double up setup for Farben and Snatchy. M4's AK across the board for Dennis in particular, the big main rifle. Snatch is going to get forced away from connector early on by the Molotovs to the T side. Smokes up to suppress mid control. Speedy there towards underpass. Will be the main map to swing in towards that mid control. And then mid control has been pretty good here from Sprout, especially on the CT side. Orb statue ready for the pass control. Speedy catches one of the edge of the smoke, takes Robin, kicks things off. Dennis follows suit. 3 players standing for endpoint. Now making it 2 as Statue gets his orb killing. Mighty Max desperate to find a trade. Spray from Dia catches him and Speedy gets the real win mid. Eventually Sprout will close it 16-4. Monstrous stuff from the arguable favourite team in the tournament. And they will move to the semi-final.